Hey guys, this is for sculpture, and this is the third part or the third install of the relief plaque, relief slab project. So what I've done in preparation is I drew out the design that I want to have on my relief. It's a combination of sunflowers as well as my own little koi fish. It's not completely done, but I'm drawing it out and I'm sketching it on paper before I start working on the clay piece. It's a good filter, it's a good way to get started. And you can come up with multiple ideas instead of just one and do a combination of the two. Like yesterday, I don't have it on me. I did a sketch of just the sunflowers and then one of the fish, and now I'm doing a combination of the two because you don't often see the combination of the two. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I just got an email real quick, so hold on. Let's see who that is. I sent you, Ashley, as well as Zoe. Okay, well, let me go on and finish this up, and I'll get to that. Okay, so now I'm going to pan down, and I'm working on the floor, which I like to do. I have, if you can see, my project completely covered in plastic so it doesn't dry out. It is still on the wear board, right? But the plastic is in between. So whenever you work on it, you can take it out of the plastic, put it on the wear board. When you're putting it away, leave it completely enveloped in the plastic, not directly on the wear board. Okay, or it could dry out. All right, so I'm going to take it, move the plastic aside, get back on the wear board. Allows it to draw a little bit of moisture out while you're working on it, not too much. I'm going to use my carving tool, my sheetrock blade, and start carving the hard edges down. It's still wet plastic. It's not leather hard yet. I'm just trying to file down these edges to get them nice and straight and even. You can see it's building up like here in the rasp, and all this clay here that I'm creating, you can use that as texture if you want to, or just roll it up and put it in your bag of clay. If you're not going to use it, rolling it up and putting it in your bag of clay right away is important because it's just very thin little pieces of clay that will dry out extremely fast. All right, go over the top. I like the texture that this rasp makes. It's a kind of a good wood grain texture. So I'm going to leave some of it as part of the aesthetic. It does have a curve to it, this rasp. So I have to keep at the high point of that curve to kind of keep a nice straight line, because you can see it bends, or it has a curve to it. Oh, there. So I need to focus on carving right here in the middle, not up here and not down there, all right, because it will make the edge kind of rounded. And if you ultimately want to do that, that's great. If you kind of want to, bend the edge and rotate and all that, but focus on trying to get the edges nice and clean and crisp to start. Practice, test yourself, see what you can do. But look at all this great little texture here. So what I'll do is I might use it, I might not. I haven't quite decided. So it's good to keep your eyes open for happy accidents. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it on top in my bag of clay and then wrap it up so that there's no chance of it drying out. Okay, I'll go over the top again. And I'm just going to go over the top with the rasp all the way across to kind of get some texture, like some background texture to get started, which is what I really like. I like a lot of texture, tactility. Texture is one of our visual elements. Okay, so look at that. This is beautiful. Beautiful. So hold on to that. I really like it. It's like having an extruder without having an extruder on you. Come back in, clean up some of those hard edges. Okay, and again, as it dries to leather hard, whenever you scrape it away, it won't displace the clay like when it's wet right now. Okay, which will make it easier to get a nice clean edge. So as it dries, you can work on the edge and get it as clean and sharp as you want it. Okay, so now it's just simply transferring over the image. I don't want you focusing on adding any clay to it right now. I just want you to focus on simply transferring it over. And if you have a soft wood tool like this is the best. And the reason I want you to transfer the whole image from the sketch or from the paper over first is because what if I was drawing a line and I didn't like it? Right? What can I do? I can erase it, smooth it over. Okay? Just like that. So if you start adding clay in areas that you don't want it, you may not like it and you go and remove it, and if you go and remove it, you might take too much clay away and it might become a headache. So it's best to start with this phase one, which is taking your sketch and just simply transferring the sketch idea over. And where you see your contour lines on your sketch is what you're going to draw. So this sunflower, and just lightly draw out the idea in the clay. Right? It's okay if you get these little burrs of clay, just push them aside or just pick them up. And again, if there's a line that you create that you don't like, you can just go back in and smooth it out. So you don't want to cut too deep, too fast. You cut too deep, too fast, you may not be able to go in and smooth it off properly. So just a little bit at a time. And then I'll continue with the petals. Okay. Now don't worry, this video is not going to be you watching me transfer this image over the whole time. It's just to kind of give you a guide, all right, on where you're going. This video will be pretty short. So what I'll do is I'll come over here and I'll do the other sunflower. Starting with the petals. Okay. If the image finds its way going off of the border, just let it go off the border instead of trying to cram it in. Like if you have a petal where a third of it is not in the image or something like that, just let the viewer use his or her imagination on where that other petal is. And also, this is a great opportunity if you have a little extra clay, and this is only if you have a little extra clay, to make an accompanying relief plaque. So let's say this image, this petal goes off of the border here. I can make a secondary relief plaque that shows the continuation of that petal, and then have another design on another block of clay that is what will be called a diptych, which is 1 and 2 together, where they go hand in hand to continue the composition or the visual creation in the relief. All right, so, and then what I'm going to do is just focus on where these lines are, because in my sketch I have the sunflower petal or sunflower stem going over the koi, like the koi is under the water, and then I also have one that's going under the koi where it looks like it's unified. Okay, so I need to go on and plan on those stems as well, and getting an idea of where they overlap and where they go over and under, creating a sense of spatial depth. All right, so what I'll do real fast is I'll do one of these petals coming out here so that I know where the curve of the koi is going to go. that. Come back down. May not be identical to the drawing. You can try to get it as close as you can, though. Part of the practice. Right, again, don't carve in too deep. These are just small little incisions to kind of get you to get the guide. This is like a guide. All right, this is a guide, and we'll be adding clay within the contour lines so that we know what direction we're taking. Right, it might look a little messy at first with all the lines, but it will all start to make sense whenever we start adding all the clay together or on top of itself. Sorry, I'm having a really bad sinus headache today because everything's blooming. So I'm having a little bit of a difficult time talking today. But anyway, this kind of gives you a general idea of where we're going. Again, I don't want you to rush it. I don't want you to start adding clay on top of the slab, the 8x8 inch slab. I want you to do a drawing, do a series of drawings, get some ideas, then start transferring. And then while you're drawing, just keep this project under that plastic. Okay, so let's say I'm done with this for today. I would spend more time on this, of course, but let's say hypothetically I'm done for the sake of the video, so it's not too long. What do? I reiterate over and over again, don't leave your project on the board, the sheetrock board by itself. Use it as a carrying tool and a holding tool while you're working. And then just flip that plastic over. You can tuck the plastic underneath the sheetrock board if you want. Just make sure that there's a space of plastic or a sheet of plastic in between the project and the actual board itself, just like that. Okay, and then whenever I'm ready to come back to it and work on it, I'll just unwrap it the same way like I showed you earlier. Okay, all right, that's the next step. This is the step where you really, first you're going to spend a good quality time trying to really get some nice sharp clean edges on the relief piece or on the slab itself, and then taking your time to draw out the design. And then after that, we'll start adding the clay coils as well as the clay pieces for the individual forms that are images and shapes that are on your clay slab. All right, be talking to you soon.